Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. And we've got a special stream for you. It's our Roadhouse review. We decided to do this on a whim because we all seen the film just the other day or today, and we want to talk about it. I'm here with Roadhouseian, also known as Ginger Greek. How you doing?
Ill but good.
Very good. And Gaz, how you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Is that a decapitated head I can see in the cupboard behind you in a plastic bag?
No.
Okay, just wondering. All right. Okay.
The fact
The
that yours,
decap-
no, mine went there is quite telling, but no.
Well, decapitated headed plastic bags have been arranged recently, and so if you've seen some of the news. So anyway, regardless. So we've all seen Roadhouse. This is the remake of the 1989 classic starring Patrick Swayze. 35 years ago, that movie fucking came out. It is incredible. It's showing our age for all of us. An 80s classic, regardless. But this film follows some of the tropes, also does its own thing at the same time. Before we start talking about certain bits and pieces and what we liked and what we hated, overall opinions, how did you find it, Ginger?
This is one of those films where it just falls into the so bad it's good categories. Like, I enjoyed it. It was absolutely ridiculous. It didn't take itself serious. And, it was just a hell of a ride. When it first started, I was just sitting there like, oh, God. But then as it more progressed, I was like, yeah, this is silly fun. And it's definitely going in my, top so bad it's good of 2024 because it just had fun, and it was nice to see. And Conor McGregor was absolutely a standout in this for me. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal, you know what you're going to get with him. He's always going to be great. But Conor McGregor, I thought for his first acting role, he was fantastic. Couple of more gigs under his belt, and he'll do all right. But then they just probably just said to him, "So what we're going to do? You're going into this bar, and we're just going to film around you, and whatever happens, happens." So Conor McGregor's like just being Conor McGregor, it seems, and all the fights were probably genuine. They were just picking out with the camera. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it for what it was. Gaz,
Guys,
It doesn't have the memorable lines for the original, which is a shame. Like, it isn't called the Double Deuce anymore. It's literally called the Roadhouse.
yeah,
And it doesn't have the rotten line, which will go down every, which is, "I used to fuck guys like you when I was in prison," which again isn't a line that they say in here, which is a shame. But saying that though, yeah, I'm with the degree kid. It totally was. Tom was fairly in its cheek. It did not take itself seriously at all. Like, he had like a Captain Hook style like crocodile that was out there to eat people, which was just fun. But yeah, it knew what it was doing. It knew the song was fairly in the TK, and they knew what they were going for, which is fine, and that's what they did. And you should always judge film by what they're trying to do, and this did what he was trying to do, which is just have some fun.
I agree with both of you. Look, I was one of the few people who didn't want the film to be remade because the first film is a classic and it's good enough that it doesn't need to be a remake. But what I did like with this was the fact that it didn't take itself too seriously. Hence why we didn't have a Sam Elliott character like in the original. Because if he got killed off in the original, and that would have then taken itself a bit too seriously, so we didn't have any of that. It would have been nice to maybe got a bit more of that crocodile, because we only got one moment with that crocodile, which in my opinion wasn't enough. Maybe if we ate Billy Magnuson instead of fucking Conor McGregor killing him, that would have been a better moment too, or something along those
yeah,
lines. Things like that. But I do agree. I think the bar should have been called the Double Deuce for sure. And there's one line you mentioned, that line about the prison. I think there's another line that needed to be said. Be nice. Everyone knows about the be nice line, yeah, regarding what it means to be a bouncer and just how to deal with people. Be nice. And we never got that, considering Jake Gyllenhaal's character has had a character transformation from being a cocky asshole UFC fighter to a guy who's now like trying to be grounded and be nice himself. He would have thought he would have added that to his teaching when it came to his proteges as bouncers. Yeah.
Because the one thing I would say is that that's the one thing that I thought was missing from this was the kind of bouncer culture where the kind of be nice, the thing you're just talking about, because that whole bit of be nice, when you're taking somebody else, you'll be nice. You ask someone to leave, you'll be nice. When you ask anyone else, you'll help him and you'll be nice. And if you can't walk, get someone to do it and you'll both be nice. Oh, until it's time not to be nice. When that happens, you won't know. And that whole thing, I think it's because Jake Gyllenhaal is an ex-UFC fighter. He's not about to
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that was the main thing that I think was lacking here. If he was an ex-UFC fighter and then he was a bouncer for a significant number of years, that could have played into the story. But the fact that he was an ex-UFC fighter who's kind of down his luck kind of was like, that element is gone, which is kind of, I wish was actually here because that could have brought more of the bouncer culture. Because bouncers get treated like shit. I mean, I know people moan about them, but they have a hard job dealing with every drunken arsehole and framing.
Well, because unfortunately for them, the tables have turned on them because there was a time when bouncers could do what the fuck they want. They could beat the shit out of you and all of that. But once they started getting licensed, and you had to be in order to be a doorman, you had to be a licensed guy because that's how it is now. The tables turned on them because now they got all the information and everything. There used to be cash in hand guys, and to pay them, and if something happened, they could just disappear and fuck off. Oh, hello, Rick. That wasn't to you, by the way. But yeah. So what the element I got from this entire movie basically was it felt like a modern day Western.
Yes.
I did like the Florida Keys element, and I was already thinking to myself whilst watching this, I bet there'll be times when I play GTA 6, I'm going to have moments that will probably resemble this fucking movie because that's also set in the Florida Keys. But even though this is set in the Florida Keys, it was actually filmed in the Dominican Republic. I'm sure there are similarities regarding those locations. And the reason why I say it reminds me of a Western, it reminds me of the Clint Eastwood Westerns, obviously tongue in cheek. You got a man from out of town comes in, cleans up the fucking area, then there's like the local hoodlums are associated with some more sinister bad guy. He ends up dealing with them too. But the bad guy himself has got an ace up his sleeve, which is a super henchman. And we get that as obviously Conor McGregor. It ticked all those fucking boxes. And the main part which made me really realize was a Western.
One second. Rick.
Yeah.
By the way, we're doing spoilers if you haven't seen Roadhouse, or if you have no intention of seeing it, we're doing spoilers, so you've been warned because Zam's about to add more. Go on, Zam. Sorry.
The part which really made me feel like it was a Western was after he dealt with those bikers at the beginning, he was slapping them around and shit like that, and even took him to hospital. As he went back to work the following day, everyone was saying, "Hey Dalton, or all like people had no idea who these fucking people are. Hey Dalton, how you doing, Dalton?" And that kind of remind me of the trope you see in Westerns. When people will be going, howdy, Mister, howdy, partner, and all that shit. They know who you are now because you've done a good, they think you've done a good deed and all of that. And so, very much a modern day Western.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I liked is that it just took, I think, two elements from like the original, which was obviously the plot. Well, the plot basically, big bad once. Place development, blah blah blah, bouncer, yada yada. Everything else,
that'll chestnut.
Because the thing is, like my issue when they do remakes is they try to nostalgia bait too much as well, and just be like, look, that's from the previous film and all this. They did none of that here, which I like. So bit. we didn't get the bouncer culture. We didn't get like we just got like this place is so bad. I just need somebody fucking crazy. To kind of, I mean, it took me out of it at the beginning because, like, trying to believe Post Malone, one of the loveliest people.
That took me out of it as well. I was like, Post Malone could not. I mean, the guy's a short ass. I mean, he likes to be like.
No, he's not. Post Malone's not short. He's a fucking tall dude. But
I have no idea who this Post Malone is.
He's a rapper.
He's a tall dude, man. But it just took me out of it because he's such a lovely guy. Like, he's a singer. His music's all right. Hit and miss, but he's like just notoriously like a lovely bloke. So that kind of took me out of it. But it didn't take me out enough and all this. But yeah, the one thing I'll say though, like when you look at the difference in quality and how the like you would think over the years with supposed better educated, college educated people coming up and all that, the script writing and storytelling would be a lot better. But I watched Roadhouse, the original, not long ago, and it's the first time I'd seen it in years because I'm not a Roadhouse fan. I don't really care about the original that much. I think it's overrated personally, but it had a great, 80s films were so brilliantly written. Like the scripts were always just solid, man. 80s, 70s, 60s films, all this kind of shit. And then you look at it today and it was so like, it's just like, what is it with, why does Hollywood still insist on treating audiences like they're complete fucking morons? And, you know, this is on Amazon. This is a streaming. So it's not even a theater film. So the need for like just talking down to people, like it really irks me. And if it wasn't for just how silly and fun the action was, like this film would have just been like, burn it, set it on fire. But the fact that the action was just ridiculous is what kept me in it, and like Gyllenhaal just being absolutely absurd was just was the best parts, because you can't really enjoy films for their writing quality anymore. It just doesn't exist.
But see, I'm going to disagree a little bit. They knew exactly what they were doing. They're writing like kitsch dialogue of the best kind, which was like having it. Sam's disappeared.
Doesn't matter. You carry on. He'll be back.
Having kitsch dialogue of the worst kind, the best kind. Whereas just they like the very tongue in cheek going like, you know, it's like, do you have insurance? Do you have insurance and stuff like this? And like and the guy with the gun.
No, that part I get that part. Like with Gyllenhaal being like, Gyllenhaal was fine. It's all the other stuff, like the exposition and the hammed up villainy and all this kind of shit. It was just like, it's like, oh god, we've been here like a million times. It's like try to add something original to the script, but you know,
I mean, the villain was very like mustache twirling, even though he didn't have a mustache.
Yeah,
like we literally the way he gets introduced like on a rocky flaming boat, and he's saying, "The captain told me it was going to be smooth sailing, so go ahead and shame me."
That fucking pissed me off.
That was a stupid.
I'm not having any more.
Exactly what they were doing. They're going right. They're going like, how can we have the most absurd, like trust fund baby villain of all time? All right, that's how we do it. It's just like,
yeah,
okay.
and that's what I mean. That was just ridiculous.
Nobody with a cutthroat razor is going anywhere near my fucking throat with a fucking, while I'm on a rocking boat. And you know what? Unless I'm in the barber shop, sitting on the proper chair and stuff like that, and getting a full fucking treatment of fucking face and waxing and whatever hairstyle, beard, then there's no reason why I can't fucking shave myself. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck how rich I am. Yeah, and it's like after the first snick, I said I'm not doing it anymore. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So that was good. So, what else did you say? I had a little technical issue.
I
was just talking about like the dip in quality of writing, like over the years, and it was just that it's just frustrating. But like I said, if it wasn't for the action,
I'll give it to you there, because I thought, in my opinion, the dip in quality was to do with the subplots, which were kind of left to the imagination at times, and letting. Look, I don't mind people asking us to fill in the blanks, but when it comes to stuff like this, which is so mundane, just do it yourself. Because, like, how did Dalton go from being a cocky, arrogant fighter who wanted to kill his opponents to being the nicest guy on the fucking planet? Like, I need to know a little bit more on that switch. We're just there to figure out that, okay, because he beat this guy up, he had a change in personality. How much of a change in personality can you do from being that guy to that guy? Literally, like, I mean, that's beyond changing personality. That's a DNA change. You know what I mean? That's, stuff like that. And like when he befriended that family who owns the bookshop, their place got fucking burnt down, and then we didn't fucking see them until he just had to leave town. And you would have thought that maybe he would have given half that money to the woman who hired him, considering he kind of like destroyed her fucking bar at the end of the movie when she, because the boat happened to be there and all of that shit. And it's always fucking land, isn't it? It's always fucking land. These motherfuckers want, and there's one little fucking place, and you could build your condos around that shit. Just leave that fucking place there. or buy her out, like give her a price that she can't refuse. You
Well, it's
know,
America. You can literally just buy the land beneath them and just kick them out. That's what they do. They say, "Oh, you own the
Yeah.
bar, but I own the land, so I'm just going to jack up your rates," and off you go. That's how they do it. So, you know, that's what I mean. Like, I'm glad that the action was as absurd as it was, because if it tried to take itself seriously with all those plots, it would have been like one of the worst films of 2024. But because it was just like, look, we're going in this, we're just going to ham it up, have fun. I mean, for fuck's sake, we've got Conor McGregor walking around butt naked in Italy.
Yes.
And
he's got that Conor McGregor walk as well. You know,
the greatest introduction to a character ever was just. I love Conor McGregor in this. I don't like the dude. I think he's a bit of a prick. But you know what? This is it did me to the fact that
me too.
I want to see him in more films, because I thought he did a fucking great job. Like, he did a great job for what it was. You know.
Let's talk about Conor McGregor actually, because he's not the first athlete to be involved in the movie. He won't be the last. He's also not the first person from mixed martial arts in the UFC to be involved in the movie, and he won't be the last. We've had people before him. We've had people like Randy Couture, who's been in the Expendable movies. I think
Gina Carano.
Obviously Gina Carano, being Ronda Rousey has been in films.
Audrey Arlovsky was in the Universal Soldier.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, but
I thought he was fine. He was just doing what he's meant to do, which is just being an intimidating presence, which is fine.
He was basically being an extension of himself, but he was basically like, somebody mentioned this on another channel. He was henchman Joker. You know what I mean? He had a big smile on his face the whole time. Whatever he was doing, he was smiling the whole fucking time, and walking around like he owns the fucking place wherever he went and shit like that. One minute he's driving a Ferrari, next thing you know, he's driving a fucking learner car, and he smashes it into a fucking palm tree and all of that, and not a care in the world. Really, really good introduction, and like when it comes to villains, like, because I thought Billy Magnuson, even though he's a good actor, I thought he was kind of cookie cutter, but Conor McGregor, the guy who's not
him and the cop are the worst characters.
I want to get onto him, the cop, in a bit as well. But the actor, I recognize him as well. But for Conor McGregor just to come in and just to be who he was, extremely intimidating, scary as well. Somebody you wouldn't want to bump into, but also at the same time absolutely fascinating. Wondering if he's going to just fuck over anyone around him. Beat up his own teammates and shit like that. He killed his boss. He broke his neck.
His dad hired him.
Yeah, but it's still his boss. You know what I mean? So like, you're gonna kill your boss's son. I mean, what sort of move is that's just as crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kill my employer's son because he's like giving me an earful.
I mean, the scene for me that was a little bit really was the one where like the guy literally comes out and goes, he literally goes, "Hey, can I just talk to you a second?" He went, "Okay." And he literally pulls up and he's got a gun. He's literally there going, he goes, "You did see I got a gun?" I went, "Yeah, I did see you got a gun." It's literally like, that's not how you handle with somebody showing you a firearm. That you're going, "Oh yeah, I see it." It's just like, dude, you're not bulletproof.
No, but what Jake Gyllenhaal realized was that, look, you are showing me the gun, that you got a gun, but you're only showing it to me. You're not going to use it against me because you want me. You want to take me somewhere. So if you wanted to kill me, you would have killed me. You wouldn't show me your gun. You get me? And so I picked up on that, and he picked up on that as well. And I like the way he dealt with that thing, which is by breaking the guy's fingers, so he couldn't use the gun, and all of that was just really cool stuff. Did you guys see the post-credit scene of this movie?
No,
because Conor McGregor's character doesn't die. Like,
what a fucking surprise! They're not making a sequel to this.
Well, you see what you see is you're in this hospital, and next thing you know, one of these, a doctor or a nurse, their head gets smacked against the window of a door, and then next thing you know, he's walking out with, like, similar to how he was when we saw his introduction. He's walking out with a cloak on, that sort of patient's cloak, and you can see his arse coming out the back of it and stuff like that. But he's a bit more zombified and shit like that. But he just obviously just coming out from being stabbed and shit like that. So we'll see where that leads. Maybe he'll have a face turn in the next movie. Who knows? Because he did kill the boss's son.
Conor McGregor as the good guy.
Yeah, I don't want
that.
that. I don't know. I don't want that to happen because there's no redeeming that particular character. So we had Ratcatcher 2 as the love interest, following in the film of having a doctor as the love interest. Did you think she and Jake Gyllenhaal had good chemistry?
No, she was terrible. She's a good actress, but they
beautiful
just
woman, by the way.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
I thought you had.
It was shit, pointless.
I thought you had better chemistry with the lady who won the bar.
Yeah,
I was rooting for that to happen, to tell you the truth.
Me too.
Yeah,
they seem to have like really good chemistry. They seem to have a really good back and forth. The Doctor and him just seem to have agree with what Paddy was just saying. Zero chemistry.
Zero chemistry. And it was more like antagonistic than it was a thing. It was just stupid. It really like beyond stupid. And yeah, I agree with you guys. It should have been with the bar owner. They had great chemistry. Even had better chemistry with the fucking the barmaid as well. That kind of walks in on him when she's sleeping. Well, yeah,
I thought a lot of the women in this were pretty good. I liked the bar owner, the barmaid. I liked the doctor, the young girl at the bookstore. I thought they were all really good in this. So I thought the supporting cast and the supporting cast as others, like the male supporting cast too, like the biker who had his arm broken, who was like a bit of a nice guy.
He was hilarious. Yeah, he was great. Oh hey, well he's smashing up the bar.
Yeah, as well. So and him teaching his young bouncer mates how to fight too. You know, there were and JD Padro, who was from Mayans, the one who got eaten up. I was shocked. He got eaten up by that fucking that crocodile who only had one introduction, and we didn't see Billy Magnuson's father, by the way, in this as well. So
I reckon that crocodile should have more than one kill. I reckon they should have at least three or four. I reckon
just two. Two. What? Two's enough. Two's enough. What? One at the end. Oh yeah. Like the fucking crocodile. You know what I mean? But going on now to the Doctor's dad, who is a recognized actor. I'm just going to pull up his name whilst you guys want to talk about him. I'll start off with you, James.
He was just like his performance in this was fucking diabolical. Like I couldn't understand what he was saying. His delivery was abysmal and just shit. I've seen him in other stuff where he's a lot better, but in this he was easily like possibly the worst part in this film.
Joaquin de Almeida. Almeida, yeah. He's been in so many things. He's got a massive film biography, but yeah, I mean, look, it's not really. It is him, and also like the character he was. He was this dirty cop who wasn't a dirty cop and had that coincidental relationship with his love interest, you know, and all of that. And then it was like his whole the character itself was just so stupid, you know. It really was. I didn't like any of that, in my opinion. For me, yeah, it was.
Let's be honest. Apart from Conor McGregor and the guy who had his arm broken, the rest of the villains were shockingly bad. Like shockingly bad.
The Trust Fund Baby didn't like him at all.
No, awful.
I mean, if I was going to cast that role, if I was going to have like a Trust Fund Baby, I don't know, maybe like Jesse Eisenberg or something like that, just somebody who's going to like a bit of a swizzling dweeb. Who else would I cast?
Too much of his Lex Luger there, but
I don't want. I fucking hate. I can't stand that actor. He is awful, absolutely awful.
Another thing, like, were you bothered or bugged by the fact that the owner of the Roadhouse was able to pay Jake Gyllenhaal $5,000 a week?
Yeah, I was just like, who the fuck gets paid? What kind of money are you making to pay somebody 20 grand a month?
Have you got Walter White playing doing a meth lab in the background?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm thinking that too. You must have a meth lab there.
Oh,
as well.
Even 1,000 a week would have been fine. Like, yeah,
See,
okay, that's believable.
In the
But
original,
5,000? That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
in the original story, the way that he was trying to pay Dalton was that he came into some money. I think he inherited some money from his parents or something, and like he bought the bar, and that's the way he was able to pay Dalton. If that had happened, if that just a little bit, and then like maybe they start a relationship, and kind of like because as I said, like if he had more of an antagonistic relationship with the Doctor, that like you were just saying, that would be more believable. Actually, I think we could rate a better movie with this. Just make him and the owner romantically involved. The Doctor could go and do whatever she wants with whoever.
Didn't need to be in it. She did not need to be in it. She brought nothing to the film.
No.
You know,
There were like you don't have to have a romantic lead. I mean, they could have still made this a
you don't
roadhouse
even need
film,
romance.
but
Yeah.
without the romance, it's just him coming there and the town just fading on of him. There could be like a tease of a romantic relationship because there are girls who fucking would probably bang him in a heartbeat. Yeah, because the guy's he's Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a good looking man with a fucking amazing physique. And he can kick ass. They're going to fawn over him, for no problem. But regarding him, maybe banging a few groupies, that's about as romantic as it gets, as far as I'm concerned. I think that would have been more realistic than him having an actual.
Don't come and knocking if this boat's a rocket.
What?
Yeah, don't come and knocking if the boat's rocking.
Now, one thing I did like was the fact that no matter how many bar fights were happening, that band just kept fucking playing.
That's the original.
Yeah.
Even when
Just
Conor
like in the
McGregor
original.
ripped open the fence, they still carried on playing afterwards.
Yeah,
That was the best part of the film. Yeah, that was great.
And I like the fact that they were behind the fence because, like, those were the similarities to the original film. Like the band always kept behind the fence, so people couldn't get to them and shit like that, or the people always chucking beers and stuff, So yeah,
I mean, the old one had like some blind guy that the flaming Dalton knew.
Yeah,
exactly. So I think he was a guitar player or something like that. So So that was pretty cool as well. So overall, fellas, how do you want to mark this movie?
I'll give it. Look, in the so bad it's good category, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. If we were talking films in general, I'd give it a 4. But because I enjoyed the absurdity of it, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 in the so bad it's good category.
Do you know what, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to give it because I enjoyed the fuck out of it, and because it did take itself seriously, and the tongue was in cheek. I'm going to give it an 8. Because hey, if I enjoyed the fuck out of it, and it was just. And I was like, yes, whenever Gyllenhaal would just uppercut a motherfucker, I was like, go on then.
I don't think we get films like this as much as we used to.
No.
This is definitely a throwback, this particular movie. And I think it worked because it is a remake of a film that is kind of thrown back to. You don't get action films like this anymore. They do take themselves too seriously, and they have to be really well choreographed. I thought some of the fight scenes were pretty good. Not all of them landed for me, but they were pretty good. Sorry, go on.
The editing was abysmal, by the way.
The
editing of the fight scenes really fucking pissed me off. But thankfully, it wasn't at least it wasn't like ridiculous shaky cam. But the editing in this film, my god, that alone gets the points knocked off because that was unacceptable. But sorry, going back to you, Sam.
Yeah, no problem. I did like this, regardless of me having my personal gripes regarding remakes and stuff like that. But I did like this. I thought this was a decent popcorn. Digest it one way, shit it out the other way. Definitely forgettable. This is not going to live long in the memory.
No.
But regardless, it did the job of entertaining me, regardless of its gripes. And I think the Joker in its pack, the Ace in its hole, was Conor McGregor. I mean, that gave it its uniqueness. Who has done something that a lot of Hollywood find really difficult to do: make a decent villain, and
Yeah.
he was a really good villain. And the funny thing is, I've watched a lot of reviews of Roadhouse from other YouTubers, and a lot of people are shitting on McGregor. Like you have to see him for what he is. The guy is not a fucking actor, but he is somebody who's been given an opportunity, and he did the best he could.
Well, the reviewers you were watching American.
Yeah,
that's why they took it too serious. That's why. We're looking at the film from a British slant, where it's just like, yeah, it's silly fun, and Conor McGregor's great because he just doesn't take it serious, and that's how we're looking at it. That's why I thought it was great. But if we're looking at it from their perspective, they take shit too serious, and that's why they're probably shitting on him, which is absurd.
Now, my mark for this movie is also going to be a 7 out of 10. I did like it. I thought it was what it was, and the tropes were okay, and some of the similarities were there, and I wish there was a little bit more in other places. But my issue was, once again, with the subplots. They were just fill in the blanks yourself, and okay, fine, I will do, because you're not going to the subplots as much as you should do when it comes to resolving some of these issues. But fair enough. And obviously the love interest I thought was a bit of a waste of time, and her father was also a waste of time. So that's why I didn't mind Billy Magnussen as much as you guys did, but it gets a 7 out of me. Overall, I enjoyed it. Jake Gyllenhaal, we don't talk about enough, was fantastic. But he's a superb actor.
Yeah, he's great in everything, and that's the thing. He's like, he's one of those actors who is legitimately great in everything, but doesn't get enough roles to be great in everything. Like when he was cast as Mysterio, I cheered. I was like, "Thank you."
It was great as Mysterio. Apart from the bar scene where all that exposition kicked in and it derailed.
That's nothing to do with him.
That's nothing to do with him at all, But he was great as Mysterio.
I mean, I've always liked him way back from him being in Bubble Boy, which is that comedy. And
my god! No, that was him.
Yeah, and Brokeback Mountain, obviously. The guy is a superb actor, and And by the way, this movie is being directed by a director who doesn't get enough credit. Doug Linehan. This is the man who made Swingers, The Bourne Identity, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Jumper, Edge of Tomorrow, which I think is his best movie in his filmography.
Yeah,
and American Made, which is also an excellent movie too. But he actually is really happy about the film. This was a big deal for him, this particular movie, and he wanted this movie to be in cinemas. He was really pissed off that it didn't go to cinema.
Film,
no.
This is a streaming film.
This is a straight. This was, if it came out 30 years ago, would have been straight to video. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong. With that. It would have been like with Ninja Strike Force and maybe like the Ninja Assassin series and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that. But I would have been pissed off having to fork out 15, 16, 17 quid to go and watch this in the cinema. It wouldn't have happened.
It's hard to know what a cinema movie is nowadays because everything's so fucking generic. But regardless, I agree. This felt like a streaming movie, and I think everything feels like a streaming movie nowadays, man. Honestly, I don't think cinema is warranted anymore, considering we could turn our own homes into theaters, with like 100-inch screens and shit like that. I'm pretty much done with cinema, unfortunately. I think it's becoming a forgotten era. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, let's wrap this up, guys.
All right. So okay, I apologize. So 2 7s and an 8. Let us know out there in YouTube land what you think of this particular movie. Did you like it as much as we did. If you have any issues with it, yada, 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 let us know with a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Take care now. Bye-bye.